Did you know that a life coach can solve all of your problems? If you've got financial worries, hire a life coach. Gone, unlimited money. Relationship issues? Hire a life coach. Voila, the best relationship in the world. Trouble starting your own business? Get yourself a coach. Boom, a millionaire in a year. Of course, I'm joking. Coaching just doesn't work like that. However, despite there being over 100,000 life coaches operating around the world, coaches are still asked the same question every single day. What do life coaches actually do? So in this video, I want to cover all things life coaching, what coaches do, what they don't do, how it works, and the cost of coaching, so that by the end of this video, you will better understand what the term life coaching actually means, and you can figure out whether you will benefit from working with one. And in case you're wondering, I will spare you all of the bull that unfortunately is attached to this almost $3 billion industry. If you hear the words life coaching, it would be understandable to assume that you would think of a handful of people: Jay Shetty, Mel Robbins, and of course the one and only Tony Robbins. Now, while Mr. Robbins may well have brought coaching mainstream over the last 20 years, it actually originates as far back as the 1980s with a man called Thomas Leonard. Thomas is unfortunately no longer with us, as he died at just 47 from a heart attack. However, if you was to do even more digging to figure out and understand who the rightful owner of coaching actually is, you'd probably find it more difficult than you may think. Because coaching in some form would absolutely have been around before the 1980s, even if back then it didn't look as it does today. However, what we do know though is that the idea of improving oneself isn't new at all. Us humans have a huge appetite for knowledge, understanding, and answers that can easily be traced back to the very beginnings of mankind. The definition of life coaching can be quite obscure, but if you were to interview and ask 100 different coaches what life coaching actually is, I'm sure you would get 100 different explanations, but all centered around the same principle. The concept is simple. People hire a coach because there's a problem that they have but don't want, or there's a goal that they want but don't have. So whether it's starting that side business that you keep putting off, gaining that promotion in work, or implementing a better morning routine to help you to be the person you've always wanted to be, a coach can keep you accountable and help you to facilitate change. Now, the reason why the coaching industry has skyrocketed into a multi-billion-dollar industry over the last 2 decades is because of the sheer volume of people who quite simply want to progress. Be it personally, professionally, mentally, or romantically, people have more questions, they're becoming more curious, more self-aware, and more open-minded to the fact that the best investment that you can make is the one in yourself. So people are turning to coaches and life coaching in the hope that it will give them the answers that they're looking for. But here's where it gets really, really interesting, because it's down to the coach to manage the client's expectations and explain exactly what life coaching can and cannot do for that particular client. Because people naturally assume that life coaching is going to solve all of their problems, and that's not the case at all. As I tell all of my clients, real deep coaching work happens over time. Typically, I would be inclined to say that a minimum of 3 months coaching is probably required. However, full disclosure here, I have had clients work with me for 10 weeks and they've got everything that they need in those particular 10 weeks. And on the flip side, I've also had clients work with me from 6 to 9 months. So it just depends what you're hoping to ascertain from the client and coach relationship. Contrary to popular belief, coaches don't actually give you the answers to your problems. They help you to find them within yourselves. And they do this by asking powerful questions. Also, there's something important that I probably should mention. Consider a disclaimer, if you will. But if you're struggling with a mental health disorder or an illness, it's probably best that you don't pursue coaching unless you're being treated for that illness or disorder by a professional, because coaching definitely isn't the answer. Now, this really pains me to say, but unfortunately, because the gateway is so low into coaching, there are so many bad coaches out there. And I'm sure you've seen with your own eyes, there are people out there selling you the quick fix, claiming that they have all of the answers to your problems. So I'm here to say that if you hear anything like that at all, steer clear, because unfortunately, there is no quick fix. Since there are thousands of coaches across the world, it wouldn't come as a surprise if you was to observe a different different coach for every day of the week, by the end of the week, you would absolutely observe 7 different styles of coaching. Styles depending on where they trained, how they operate as a coach, and the clients that they are working with. You see, as coaches, it's important that we show up for our clients how they need us to. Some need a softer, more compassionate approach, and others need some tough love. But it's down to us as coaches to pull from our coaching utility belts, to use the right resources, the right tools, to help our clients achieve the results that they want. Now, the fact that all coaches operate differently might come as a bit of a shock to you, but you're receiving a service from a person, and we aren't all the same. Therefore, the service that we offer isn't always going to be the same. Now, when it comes to the cost of coaching, there are many coaches out there that will charge anything from $200 upwards to $1,000 per session. And this, of course, is dependent on a few factors: what their niche is, their experience in the industry, and their perceived value of the service that they deliver. But for me, this is why so many coaches can be certified for so long, but only ever have a handful of clients, because they refuse to lower their prices to get that experience in to become a better coach. And it's why in the past I found myself working with coaches who have been certified for a lot longer than me. They'll often approach me and say, "Sean, how do you have a full practice of clients?" And no matter how many times I'm asked this question, the answer's always the same. I got into coaching because I love helping people, and I was always very wary of pricing people out who wanted support, and it's what enabled me to go full-time coaching in less than 12 months. But what do you need to do in order to become good at anything? You need to do a lot of it. But some coaches, unfortunately, they just refuse to charge less, and this leads to them not gaining as much hands-on experience. Here's the thing that might seem quite controversial. For me, you can hire a good coach, someone who is well educated in the field, takes their own personal development seriously, and has trained somewhere prestigious. But in my personal opinion, the greatest coaches out there are the ones that have been there before, and they can help support you not only from a place of coaching, but from a place of experience, know-how, and understanding. However, you don't need to have gone through what your clients are going through in order to help them, but of course, it absolutely helps if you have. Because at the end of the day, it's just one human being supporting another human being with their challenges, problems, and endeavors. So the question you're probably asking yourself right now is, do I need a life coach? Absolutely not. You do not need a life coach, but I think everyone could benefit from having one. You see, as human beings, we're all operating on the programming that we have. And this programming that we have comes from our belief systems, our upbringing, our support network, and our perception of how we see ourselves and the world around us. And coaching, quite simply, challenges us to see all of these things differently, and then we start doing different things. And when we start doing different things, we finally start getting different results. So if there's a problem that you have but don't want, or there's a goal that you want but don't have, consider working with a life coach. Consider subscribing to the channel if you like personal development content. And if you want to see some of the results that I've got for my coaching clients, then go and watch this playlist right here.